Hey guys, I'm Combat Craig, and this is the best way to get a 100% VA disability rating. Well, I guess I should say this is the best way for you to get a 100% VA disability rating because I'm currently 100%. I'm also PNT. So the steps that I used are going to be different than yours, right? Everything's different. I'm different. You're different. We report our symptoms differently, all that kind of stuff. But this is general knowledge. So you have to prove it, and you have to prove it with medical evidence. I was banging my head up against the wall for years, 27 years. Finally, I educated myself and I learned about secondary service connections. You're going to need those for sure, especially if you're stuck at 80 or 90 or something like that. So, when I educated myself about secondaries, that's when things really started to fall in place for me personally, and I think they will for you as well. Speaking of secondaries, if you're interested in supercharging your VA claim, check out my boot camp at combatcraig.com. I break down secondaries. I break down the whole claims process. Guarantee you'll learn something. Check it out. In my mind, this comes down to two main things: risk and secondaries. So let's start with the risk part. So you need to understand the risks associated with filing a claim for an increase because you're filing a new claim. Anytime you do this, the VA can look through all of your disabilities, everything you're service connected for, and if you don't have complaints, you haven't been going to the doctor, they can reduce you. This is something that happens to people. If you don't know this already, like definitely walk away with this nugget for sure. This happens. I'd go into your va.gov account, print out a list of all your service connected disabilities, and then look at them. You know, are you service connected for 5 things or 10 things? Look at each one of them. And all right, tinnitus. How often have I been complaining about this? You know, am I doing my yearly physical? And I don't even talk about tinnitus because it's like, oh, you know, it never goes away. You should continue to talk about tinnitus. You should continue to talk about all your service connected disabilities. It's supposed to be a disability. That's why you're getting paid, right? If you don't have a disability anymore, that's kind of the way they look at it. They're not going to pay you. So you need to understand to the best of your ability. Again, I know you're not a medical records review expert either, but you can at least look at all your service connected disabilities and go, all right, when was the last time I went to the VA for this? When was the last time I went to the VA for that? You know, what did I say? Did I even go? Ooh, that one, I haven't even shut up and said shit about that one for 3 years. You know, this is how you're going to start figuring out the risk. The bottom line here is if you're seeing your doctors regularly, then that shows the VA that you do have a disability. Um, if it hasn't gotten any better, there's no reason for them to reduce it. Now, there is a caveat. This also figures into the risk part. VA doctors are famous for downplaying symptoms. And if you do not say something, they're not going to ask prodding questions to make sure that your medical records are right. So, this is also a factor. Look through your medical records and see what you've been saying to the VA matches up with what you were saying to the doctor. It's going to piss you off, but just one more thing to factor in when we're talking about risk. I can say, generally speaking, if you're going to the doctor and you're having all your service connected disabilities checked out a couple times a year, and even if they are downplaying, I mean, the whole concept of a disability is you go to the doctor, right? So when they go look through and, they're like, oh, we're going to reduce this guy. If you've gone, in the past year for all 5 or 10 of your service connected disabilities and made complaints, I think that's enough for them not to reduce you. But that's a good place to, look at risk as well. Oh, I've only been once in 2 years. That's going to make it a little riskier, I think. But I don't know how this is going to, shake out for you because I'm not a doctor and we're not inside the head of a VA rater. Once you've figured out the risk part, you're like, all right, cool. I have enough. I've been seen for everything. They don't have any reason to reduce me, basically. Then, how do I get from, 60, 70, 80, or 90 to 100%? Secondary service connections is the easiest way to get a 100% VA disability rating. Secondary service connections. What are those? That's when you have an additional disability that was caused by your already service-connected disability. Secondaries are the big secret, straight up. The VA doesn't advertise what secondaries are very well. They don't advertise anything that's going to help us very well. And VA doctors certainly aren't going to spend time testing you on any kind of possible secondary that you may have. You need to ask for it. My advice to you is to get everything tested that you possibly can and then look at it and see if it's a secondary. Did this new thing that I found out that I had, like sleep apnea, was it caused by my active duty service? And is there a link there? Like, is this a viable claim that I should file? You have to figure this out. You're going to need a nexus. You need a nexus always. Your current disability needs to have some kind of link back to your active duty service. So you always need a nexus. It needs to be in a medical record. So it may already exist in your medical records. If it does, go look for it. If not, you're going to need to supplement the record, your records, with a nexus. Try your VA doctor. The goal is to get the nexus. So if the VA doctor won't give it to you, then you're going to need to go to a private doctor. So I'll leave you with that. Risk and secondaries. That's what it comes down to. If you're looking to get a 100% disability rating and increase something that's lower than 100%. That's all it boils down to, folks. I'll see you in the next video.